And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you a street smart consumer here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to save our hotline number in your phone. At some point you may need it. We're experiencing an uptick in call-ins to the show. It's an off-air number, 813-670-7372. You can call or text that line with any comments or questions from the show, 813-670-7372. And we hope you do. We appreciate those who do. Our radio show family out there, our TV show family as well, tuning in daily 4 o'clock drive time right here on AM 860 The Answer. We got our weekend show on FM 102.5 The Bone. And of course, you can find us on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and 85 other smart television outlets as well. Bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. That's where you can find links to all of our expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So we're going to make our introductions here today. We've got on the Zoom, we've got Diane Vance, our mortgage expert contributor, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Diane.
Hey, Brandon. Good to be on the show. Little distant away, but I'm very familiar with Zoom. I use it all the time. It's a great way to communicate during these times.
That's right. So the challenges in the real estate market are more particularly, it seems, on the secondary market dealing with liquidity. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm going to go over that. You know the song, "Ooh, Babe, It's Wild, Wild World"?
Yes.
That is the song of the week.
Okay. So
I'm going to go over that today a little bit, and hopefully I won't talk over the heads of a lot of folks, but it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand how it works, and that way you can understand, how that can affect you and your personal economy, because there's the economy out there, and then there's the economy between your own ears, and what you can actually do to control that.
Right.
So we'll dive deeper on that, and we appreciate you hanging out with us here. We also want to welcome attorney Iggy Garcia to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, Iggy.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Good.
Excellent. Would you give us an overview of what you'd like to talk about today?
So, as you can imagine, employers are dealing with a lot of issues right now with COVID-19 and their employees. And so I thought as I give you guys just some updates on the new laws that have come out recently by the federal government in the last few days to address COVID-19, as well as some practical tips on how to deal with your employees and COVID-19.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of challenges, extra challenges here, and I appreciate you bringing the new laws into effect. I love getting the updates from our legal analyst on the show. It's important to update our listeners about some of these new laws, because a lot of times they're not completely aware of how that may impact them as well. So we appreciate that. More from Iggy Garcia coming up here shortly on the attorney. He's an attorney here in Tampa Bay on the Consumer Quarterback Show. In studio with me here, Thomas King, our friend from Florida Firearms Academy. Welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thanks for having me today in these crazy times that we're living in. So
yeah, man. What are we going to talk about today, Thomas?
We're just talk about a little bit about some of the free classes that we're giving, free seminars that we're giving, the next upcoming seminar, and why so many people are buying guns and ammo today.
Yeah, absolutely. And self-defense is an important topic of our show. We want you to think about our show as the hub of your financial, your business, your self-defense, your health wheel, and all of those spokes extending out from that center, representing another one of our on-air expert contributors, our preferred partners that we bring on the show to serve as a consumer advocate, making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to cater to everyone and be that resource for you. So that's why we encourage you to reach out. So if anything you hear about from the show today, we'd love to hear from you. And as you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top team here in the Tampa Bay area. And we always feature our real estate listings on the show. show. So it's an extra advantage for listing with the Platinum MVP team. I want to talk to you about a car wash that we've got listed here in Clearwater on Betty Lane. This is a property on Betty Lane, 1314 North Betty Lane. It's a three-bay car wash. The owner is motivated. He's just a little bit older and wanting to get out of the business. But this is a cash cow. Great opportunity for a commercial asset here in Tampa Bay. It's listed at only $170,000 for a cash cow car wash here in Clearwater, Florida. Also, 260 Lyndhurst Street in Dunedin, a beautiful property, single-family home with a mother-in-law suite over the garage is available as well. The price has been reduced significantly. It's close to the Fenway Hotel. If you're familiar with the Fenway Hotel in Dunedin, and you're literally a block from the Intercoastal Waterway and the open water views of Dunedin, Florida. So check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com, PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And this segment is brought to you by Two Maids and a Mop. What a great time to get your property cleaned, professionally cleaned and deep cleaned here in Tampa Bay by Two Maids and a Mop, our cleaning partner with the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tabitha and her team do a great job. I personally use them for my primary residence. They do a great job cleaning our property every 2 weeks. We get the bi-weekly cleanup on the home. And when you're a busy person with your career, your kids, whatever you're working on, allow Two Maids and a Mop to do the cleaning, and you will be satisfied with them. Definitely raving reviews from all the folks that we've talked to about them as well. Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, let's jump right into it. I want to go to Diane Vance here. Give us that update. Give us kind of a helicopter view of the market, Diane, and then we're going to bring in a little bit more of a micro to what's actually happening.
So a few weeks ago, you all remember when the president got up and said, hey, we're going to do a stimulus. Well, they did. And part of that stimulus was to stimulate the mortgage-backed securities and the equity markets, which is the stock market. And when they did that, they did a little too much. So what happens is it ends up causing, it caused the interest rates to go up. So a lot of people started calling the Fed. I'm not an expert. I listen to a lot of experts in the market. I subscribe to a lot of different services and different people that are in the know. And a lot of people actually went and said, hey, you're doing too much. So they have calmed down this week. So what it does is the mortgage-backed securities is how interest rates are done. And then when you actually, not to get too technical, but the interest rates, when I quote an interest rate, and we lock that interest rate, we're guaranteeing that to our warehouse line, which is how we fund our loans. And if you don't fund that loan, or if it's a less of an interest rate, you have what is called a margin call because you guaranteed that loan, that interest. And so if it never closes or something like that happens, then that's not good for the lenders. The other thing that happens is when the interest rates go too low, the people that you pay your mortgage to and the servicers, it takes them about 3.5 years to recoup servicing the loan. In other words, when somebody buys, no matter if it's Fairway or anybody else that would buy the servicing loan, you actually lose money when that loan refinances. So you can imagine when interest rates get too low and people from a year ago refinance, then that causes a problem on that end. So it's kind of a double-edged sword that happened at the same time. So this is temporary. I want everybody to know that there are temporary measures. This is temporary. It's going to go away. They are predicting that second quarter is going to be very rough. Third and fourth quarter are going to boom. There's a lot of pent-up demand. We haven't made some changes, but the Ginnie Mae, who buys the government loans, has made some changes. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have made some changes. Of course, we had to because of unemployment rates. So some of the changes, again, they are temporary. We've made some changes to the minimum credit score for government loans. And every lender out there has done the same thing. Again, it's temporary. They're saying, through the end of May, and then what happens is everybody looks at it again. We are still making loans. We're doing some things to protect ourselves and our liquidity. And what we're doing is we're actually We're checking unemployment the day of closing. We usually don't require, at closing, Brandon, I know you understand this, we don't usually require a funding number, but now we are requiring that because we want to make sure that people are still employed. There are, now the other thing too is there's a lot of forbearance talk. And forbearance means that you need to call your servicing company, whoever you're making your payment to, make sure ask them, am I going to have to pay a lump sum when my 6 months are up, if that's how long I'm asking to actually have that forgiven? Is not forgiven? Is it added onto the end of the loan, or is it actually going to be a lump sum? Most of them are going to tell you a forbearance is a lump sum. However, I heard some talk in the relief bill that it's not official yet, but there's some talk in the relief bill that some of that may be taken care of by the federal government. But again, they're constantly doing some relief and stimulus packages. We had the first one come out, and I think it's going to be, we're gonna get updates as we go. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, good stuff, Diane. I appreciate the updates there. That's an insider look at how the loan origination business works in the liquidity markets, and that's what's challenging some of the real estate lenders. Fairway is up and running. They're doing deals, getting a lot of deals done. We're actually still closing deals, getting deals.
Yeah, we're taking loan applications.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Taking apps right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm busy.
And there's also, I want to talk later in the show too about some of the SBA and other coronavirus, COVID-19 supplements that are available for small business owners to apply for as well. So I want to ask you that question in a little bit as well. And more from Diane Vance. We got attorney Iggy Garcia coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thomas King's in studio as well. And we'll be right back with our feel-good story of the day. Teacher who disarmed a student and hugged him will receive the Medal of Honor, Citizen's Honor. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember it. Ask an attorney about Florida law.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to...
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back their rights. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that movie because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser,
we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
And we're back. Brandon Grimes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. Of course, we would love to talk to you. We do offer cash buys as well. Keller offers, powered by Keller Williams Realty. We do have instant offers available for anybody looking to sell quickly. We can close within 24 to 48 hours on these types of deals as well. So we'd love to talk to you about that. A couple of hot listings I want to let you know about here, some commercial assets. Let's talk a little bit to our business owners out there, commercial investors. 19206 US Highway 19 in Clearwater. This is a corner lot, a large opportunity for a investment in Clearwater. It's an amazing opportunity to own a corner lot, freestanding building on US 19. The building is currently leased by a reputable auto dealership with many locations across the Southeast. 19206 US Highway 19 North in Clearwater. A great opportunity to buy and invest in commercial real estate here in Tampa Bay. It's a corner lot, great opportunity in Tampa Bay. Also, 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. This building, it's a commercial asset, office building. So if you're paying lease space, renting, you want to look to buy and own your own real estate, this is a great opportunity for you. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. You got signage out on Hillsborough Avenue with about 50,000 cars going by per day, seeing your signage out on West Hillsborough Avenue, town and country area. And the building comes with a nice conference room, kitchen, lots of offices. Would be great for a doctor, dentist office, or potentially a roofing company. Different types of companies have looked at it, and it's a great investment opportunity here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com, PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And what a great time to visit our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions in Tampa. They've got locations in Tampa at Gandy Boulevard and Bearsdale Mabry is their northern location, but they're also making house calls. So if you know someone that's in their home that would like to have a vitamin infusion drip, just like you would get at the hospital, Myers cocktail with amino acids, vitamin B's, C's, all types of good stuff. Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan and tell them that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, let's go to Iggy Garcia, attorney Iggy Garcia here in Tampa Bay, and talking about some of the updates to the new laws and what's going on the employer side. Iggy.
So basically, one of the things that the government has passed over the last few days is two different statutes. One of them is an expansion of family medical leave, which it's now and these two statutes both apply to employers that have less than 500 employees. So if you have less than 500 employees, these are two additional avenues for leave that individuals can now claim from their employers. For the expansion of family medical leave, it gives employees 12 weeks of job-protected leave. For the first 10 days of those 12 weeks, you're not paid, but the rest of the first 2 weeks, you're unpaid, but then the following 10 weeks, you get 2/3 of your regular rate of pay, capped at $200 per day, $10,000 in the aggregate. And the law is designed that employees can avail themselves if they have to take time off to take care for a child because their school has been closed or their daycare is no longer available and they have to take care of their children. This gives them 12 weeks to be able to do that, 10 weeks of which is paid at the 2/3 rate. Also, another important leave law that was just recently passed by the federal government is the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. And what this does is it gives you 10 business days, 80 hours of paid leave. And there's several different ways that you can avail yourself of this. Again, it applies to employers that have less than 500 employees. And basically you could avail yourself of this leave if you've been subject to a government quarantine, if you've been advised by a healthcare provider that you have to stay home, if you're experiencing any symptoms of COVID-19, if you're having to care for children, or because of that you no longer have care for them, it allows you to get it allows you to get the first 2 weeks paid, since the emergency family medical leave that we talked about doesn't kick in until after those first 2 weeks. And this pay, if you're if you're using the provisions for yourself, your pay is capped at $511 per day and the aggregate of $5,110. If you're going to use this statute to care for a dependent or to care for your child, you get 2/3 the rate of your pay, up to $200 per day, or $2,000 in the aggregate. So basically, this law can fill in those first 2 weeks that you're not getting paid under the expansion of family medical leave. It gives you an opportunity to get paid during that time period. And there are some exemptions in place for employers that are under 50 employees. It gives you all some arguments to avoid having to give these types of leave, basically if it prevents you from having a viable ongoing business if you have to pay these additional leaves. But definitely something to be aware of. These are new leave protections that employees are availing themselves of every day now, that they were just passed a few days ago by the federal government. And it's something to get this is for those employees that are not being laid off or not being let go, but are still being employed, but need some time off to take care of either themselves or to take care of their dependents and their children.
Yeah, that's important, Iggy. I appreciate you bringing that to the show. Iggy Garcia here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. So you have opportunities to, for folks to reach out. What's an opportunity where people might want to take you up on your services, or how would you be able to help them access this information, or what would be a call to action to the folks listening that hear that and say, yeah, I'd like to take action on that?
Sure. If you needed to discuss, I'd be happy to talk to these individuals. A bit of background of us: we're a labor and employment firm, Ogletree Deakins. My email address: iggy.garcia @O as in ostrich, D as in dog, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, S as in Sam.com. So iggy.garcia @odnss.com. Like I said, the law firm is Ogletree Deakins. We're a national labor and employment firm. And as you can imagine, over the last 2.5 weeks, we have been giving a tremendous amount of advice related to COVID-19, layoffs, WARN Act, how to deal with employees who potentially were exposed to COVID-19 or have COVID-19, and the best practices for that. The state of Florida, the governor just issued a stay-at-home order for the entire state. So now you've got employees that are staying home related to that, and employers are having to deal with all of that. It's a lot. It's a lot coming every day now.
Yeah, it is. It's a challenging time that we're facing, and the challenge. One of the challenges too is the battlefield of the mind. Sometimes people can take these negative things and just constantly dwell on them. But why you shouldn't worry is another story that I've got to talk about later in the show. But worrying about these things versus taking action. Controlling what you can't control, Iggy. I think that's an important message for our listeners right now.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to control what you can. So we're talking with attorney. He's a labor and employment law attorney, Iggy Garcia, Ogletree and Deakins. It's a national labor employment firm here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, first time appearance, and talking about some of the updates to the laws. And I think that's such an important thing and a great service that you guys are doing right now for the listeners out there. And if you want to reach out, if you want any other information, either from Diane Vance you heard about, from the mortgage side, from attorney Iggy Garcia here, and then coming up we've got Thomas King, reach out to our hotline. We'd love to connect you with them. You can call or text our hotline, 813-670-7372. And you can call or text our off-air number. You're not going to be put on air if you call that number, 813-670-7372. And you can just simply text employment law or labor and employment law, if you'd like, to that number. Again, it's 813-670-7372. And we got a couple minutes left here, Iggy. What else would you like for to portray to our listeners and our viewers of our show?
So, it's a lot in terms that's coming out to employees now. As you can imagine, there are a lot of layoffs that are going on right now with employers dealing with COVID-19, and the government's got a lot of programs out there right now, whether it's the two additional leave laws that we talked about, the CARES Act that was just recently passed about all the small loans that employers can get now. But I mean, you could get through it. I mean, you just need to be aware of what the laws are. Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of employers over the last 2.5 weeks, strategizing as to what would be the best way to handle the situation that they have. And there's lots of different options out there for employers. Some employers are laying individuals off, others are furloughing them, others are lowering their pay, others are putting them in different positions. And so depending on what type of an employer you are, what you do, what laws you're under, depending on what size you have, I mean, there are lots of different strategies that you could take on how you want to get yourself through what everybody's hoping is going to be a 30, 60, 90-day process, so that you could put yourself in a position where you could ramp up your company quickly once this time period passes, and that you handle this time period in the most efficient way possible financially for you as an employer. Like I said, there's lots of different options. Happy to talk them through.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And we're going to hear more from Iggy in our lightning round coming up in the fourth quarter. Here we got a lightning round where we talk about top tips, nuggets of advice, and parting words of wisdom. So more from Diane Vance coming up. Iggy Garcia. Up next is Thomas King. He's the owner of Florida Firearms Academy. We're going to talk about self-defense, some of the training classes they offer, and why so many people are buying guns and ammo right now here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, we have our feel-good story. It's an interesting follow-up. This is a follow-up for our show. Listeners may remember our story about the heroic action that a teacher took to disarm a dangerous situation. Now he wins the Medal of Honor. Find out about the teacher who disarmed a student and hugged him, and he will receive a Medal of Honor in our feel-good story of the day. So stay with us. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. We'll be right back after this short timeout. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it's Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
62, who knew? I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62, who knew?
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember now. Ask Anthony about Florida.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Backles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We want to help you win in your real estate dealings, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate a top team here in the area, and we would love to talk to you, buying, selling, or investing. Other realtors that may want to join our team, we're always interviewing and bringing on talented realtors that want to have that Keller Williams brand behind them. Also coupled with our radio and TV show, we'd love to talk to you about that. Going to be featured in Florida Realtor Magazine again next month. I was just interviewed for Florida Realtor Magazine, the authoritative magazine for all real estate in Tampa Bay, or in the state of Florida, rather. And we'd love to talk to you. A couple of hot listings here real quick before we jump into the content with Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy here. I wanted to talk about Zero Harbor Drive in Clearwater. I've got two lots that are side by side here. Now, these are waterfront with bay access right in Clearwater, and the price is right as well. It's around $150,000 for a bay access home site. And if you're a developer, you can put 9 units here. So think about the cash flow that you could generate by investing and building 9 townhouses right here in Tampa Bay on the waterfront with bay access. Beautiful properties available here in Clearwater, Florida at Harbor Drive. Also, let's talk about 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. This is 8 lots. Again, developers, builders, great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. 8 lots. 5 of those lots are waterfront, right on Bell Lake in Land O'Lakes, which is a 90-acre ski lake loaded with bass. Great fishing here on the lake as well. So if you're a builder developer, you want to reach out and talk about this property, I'd love to talk to you about 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Say again?
It's a bug out property, man.
Yeah, hey, great
Fish,
opportunity.
Get your land, grow and stuff.
That's right, man. Be able to develop and build and have just a beautiful life right on the waterfront there. So we are going to thank our sponsor as well. We got Golf Cart Depot here. Big shout out to our friends at Golf Cart Depot in Tampa Bay. You can test drive as well. You can go to their locations, or they're going to bring them directly to you. They're sanitizing, they're cleaning these golf carts as well, and it's a great opportunity to test drive at your home. They're going to bring the golf cart to your home so you can test drive it. And you want a toy. We're adults, we're grown-ups now, but you still want toys, and these are fun. They're fun to have, either commercial use or personal use as well. Golf Cart Depot, they're in Land O'Lakes and Clearwater. Say hello to Marty. They have an awesome team over there, and they hooked me up with our Keller Williams Red, beautiful golf cart, and we wrapped it with the graphics from Image 360, Bob Burmaster, Image 360, so you can see, if you're watching our TV show version, the Platinum MVP team, the Keller Williams Realty, and also the Consumer Quarterback Show wrapped on our beautiful Keller Williams Red. Big shout out to Golf Cart Depot, and let them know that the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, so Thomas King, one of my favorite contributors here on the show. I love talking self-defense. I love talking about things that matter, and this is definitely one of those topics that matters right now. So why are so many people buying guns and ammo?
Well, that is a loaded question, but I'll put you on the spot. What do you think is going to happen in 30 days once this is all lifted?
Whew, man, that's a loaded question, definitely a loaded question. But I think that there's going to be a pent-up demand in terms of the housing market. A lot of people are going to be back to normal business and normal. But I'm hearing other people say that we're entering into a long-term depression.
It could be, and no one really knows right now. But right now, if we do have to wait so many months that we are locked down, then that's going to be a 50% unemployment rate. And if that happens, there's going to be a need for money, supplies, everything that your basic essentials. So people are going out purchasing a firearm because you were just talking about in your last segment with Iggy Garcia about don't worry, you're going to go over that segment. And, at Florida Firearms Academy, none of us are worried because we're ready for the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. So we're prepared. We know what we're going to do, whichever happens. So best case scenario, 30 days, everything is good. Worst case scenario, martial law. Everything gets shut down and we all go into depression. People lose their life savings and everything. So you got to know and be prepared for everything. That's why we're not worried about it. But at that point, when there is no basic necessities, if you cannot go to the store and buy food or whatever, people are going to be on the ramsack. People are going to, when the police can't come out, because they did shut down 5 police stations in Puerto Rico and they're one of their fire stations. If they can't come out to defend you or protect you, then you have to take that in your own hands. And what we do at Florida Firearms Academy, we do 40 different types of training from basic all the way to tactical. We're an armory, we're a shooting range, we're an academy. So you can come out and try what we're doing, or what we're offering right now is free Basic Pistol 101. We have waived all of our fees for you first-time buyers that have a handgun that don't know how to use it correctly and safely. We don't care where you bought it from. We just want you to get that training so you don't hurt yourself, your loved ones, or even possibly your neighbor. So we're offering this to you to get to RSVP for this. You're going to have to do it through, call us by 813-221-3473. That's 813-221-3473, and you're going to RSVP for the date and time that you want to take this class. There's 3 people minimum in a class, maximum in the class, and you have to be 6 feet apart. But we want to make sure that you're doing it correctly and safely. And if you're also logging into our Florida Firearms Academy Facebook page, like today I gave away a tactical backpack just for posting up your favorite dish. So we do a drawing. The other day we gave away a rifle and ammo. And we do a lot of drawings all the time. So all you got to do is just fun stuff. But we are doing free seminars. So if you want to scroll back on our Facebook page, you'll be able to see how to make, is your house a soft target or a hard target? And that meaning if a bad guy's walking by, he's going to say, nope, not that one. I'm going to move on to the next one. And you can make your house a hard target just for a few dollars and doing a few simple little things. So the next seminar that we have coming up is with our attorney, Deborah Faulkner, and she's with Burke Faulkner and Law, and she's going to talk about how to keep the government out of your family affairs. And this is really important, especially with wills, estates, trusts, even gun trusts, and we are going to go over that. That's going to be our next seminar on Wednesday, live on Facebook, and that will be at noon. So
Medical
you can log on there. Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of really good information. So just like what Iggy just talked about too, you know, that's great information that you're sharing on the air.
Let me ask you something here. We're talking with Thomas King, owner of Florida Firearms Academy, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And when you talk about making your house a hard target, without giving away all your tips that you share on your classes, can you share something with our listeners maybe on how?
About, you can go on there and watch the video. This is just, we do a free seminar for this, but what we do is, like, we're not talking about going out and spending $10,000 on cameras and lights and just little things. Instead of on your doors, your front doors, on your hinges, you have they put in these little screws. They're very tiny. They're like an inch long. Take those out and put 3-inch screws on there. That's going to be really hard to kick your door in. You could have a little kid come up and kick your door in if he really tried without those 3-inch screws. Having those in there, you're really going to hear the impact of someone trying to break into your house. Then you're going to be aware, you're going to be notified, you're going to be able to react. If you don't, then that's going to be something simple that you can just do. There's 3 on each hinge there. Take those out, put them right back in. It's only take you a few minutes. Like, we put bells on our windows. If you can't afford sensors, put bells on your windows, or you can buy these little like frogs on Amazon, or just put a battery in them. They're a motion detector. So when you hear ribbit, ribbit, if someone comes through your window, now, hey, you know what? 9 times out of 10, that bad guy's going to run away unless he has other intentions to hurt you with. So if you put that under a bell so you can hear it, and put layers and layers and layers of protection on there, and just for a few dollars you can do that. But once you hear it, you're going to be able to react. We have like home defense classes, having a home invasion plan, how to put that together, how to practice your home invasion plan, and that's really good information. So even something as simple as calling 911. Who's going to be the one calling 911? Is it going to be your son, your daughter, your wife? You have to establish that. You have to say on 911 who you feel there's a break-in, there's how many people in your house, you're hiding in this room and location, which door and location is the easiest for the police to get in, what you're wearing. Try to give them as much information. And then you use your phone as a distraction or a deterrent. You put that in a corner somewhere else, so if someone does possibly come in, they're going to see that, they're going to hear someone talking over there, you're going to be hidden over here. Knowing the difference between concealment and cover is life-threatening and can save your life. So there's a lot of really good information in that video that we can go over, or once this is all lifted, we'll go ahead and come out to your location or your business and talk about this free seminar for you and your employees.
Wow, that's great information, and that's stuff that you wouldn't normally think about, and you wouldn't have the foresight to think about because you don't know that. A lot of times in business and in life, you don't know what you don't know. So we're talking with Thomas King. He's the owner of Florida Firearms Academy, and a lot of times too, Thomas, you have off-duty police officers, sheriff's deputies, military coming in, and you're hearing a lot of the stories that necessarily don't make it to the news that a lot of people see.
We hear that every day, and especially from our customers saying, I need to buy a firearm. But right now, people are just sleeping at stores waiting for it to open because they realize, wow, firearms are sold out. Ammo is sold out. How do I get one? Where do I get one? And I didn't know I had to go through all these complicated things to actually buy one. I thought it was just buy one, take it home today. No, it's not that easy. You have to actually come in, fill out a 4473. You do have to wait a grace period. Depending on the county that you're in, it could be 3 to 5 days. And you have to pass a background check. If you cannot pass the background check, which the state will charge you $5 to do that, then you cannot take that firearm home. And no, please don't ask any gun dealer, well, can I just take it home today? Can I give you a little extra? No, it is their license and reputation that they would lose, and they'd go to jail for that.
Wow.
So they're not going to do it on trying to make a $50 on a gun off of you. It's just not worth it to any of us.
Right, yeah.
We have to keep these records for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Florida Firearms Academy right here in Tampa Bay, a longtime friend of the program. And you're located, what's the address again, Thomas?
We're at 13317 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. We're in between the flea market and West Chase there on the north side of Hillsborough.
Yeah, kind of back in that industrial park that was built in there. So it's great.
One thing
great
I
location.
do know is we're all going to look like rock stars when this is done. We're going to have that long hair because I don't know, where can you go get your hair cut at now?
Right. Yeah, get the haircut, do the clippers at home. I used to do back in the day with the football.
Flowbee.
Yeah, just kind of clip it ourselves back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the football players would be cutting each other's hair and doing the fades back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're telling people is to be prepared, so they're not going to be worried. And you know what? Being prepared for anything, that's the Boy Scout motto, always be prepared. Once you're prepared for anything, not just home defense, anything in life, finances, real estate, having a plan with a family, you're always going to be well better off on making your great decisions.
Yeah, more from Thomas coming up in our lightning round, as well as Diane, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Iggy Garcia, attorney Iggy Garcia as well, Ogletree, Deakins, going to be on the Consumer Quarterback Show in our lightning round. Plus, we have our feel-good story of the day. It's a good one. We're doing a follow-up feel-good about a teacher who disarmed a student and hugged him, and he will receive a Medal of Honor, a Citizen's Honor, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at the Keller Williams branch here in Tampa Bay, Clearwater area. We'd love to help you buying, selling, or investing, buying houses cash, bringing realtors on. We're actually hiring right now for several positions, so reach out if you'd like to talk to that. We also have our expert contributors coming up in our lightning round. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage attorney, Iggy Garcia, as well as Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, coming up in our lightning round. Want to give a shout out to Infinity Medical Institute. Infinity Medical Institute, over 10 years in business, over 40,000 patients successfully treated. They do bio-natural hormone replacement therapy. It offers many advantages in restoring your energy and a youthful feeling. Lots of benefits for men and women. Reach out to Infinity Medical Institute. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. You can find them online at infinitymedicalinstitute.com. And we are back here in studio. Our goal is to help you win as a consumer advocate. And I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings here. I've got some vacant land in Palm Harbor at 516 Alternate 19. Palm Harbor, it's also known as 0 Alt 19. Palm Harbor, great opportunity to build here. This is a construction opportunity right in Palm Harbor. You got the walkability to downtown restaurants. The owner is going to also convey the architectural plans, which are a $40,000 value. This property is available at $199,000, vacant land in Palm Harbor. 4207 South Del Mabry Highway. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo listed around $245,000 in Tampa Bay, and it is in the key area of South Tampa as well. We got pools on site. Beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPteam.com. PlatinumMVPteam.com. Every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day. And today's a great one. It's a follow-up from a story that we talked about a while back about heroic action that a teacher took to disarm a dangerous situation. He's now winning the Medal of Honor for Citizens. So a teacher who disarmed a student last May, Keenan Lowe disarmed a student and then hugged him in the hallway of Oregon High School where he coached football. For his bravery and compassion, the Congressional Medal of Honor Foundation has announced that he will receive the 2020 Single Act of Heroism Award. Lowe is one of 6 citizens honorees chosen by the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. While medals of honor are awarded to members of the U.S. military, Lowe and other citizens honorees, quote, exemplifies the values embodied in Medal of Honor: courage, sacrifice, commitment, integrity, citizenship, and patriotism, the society said. Quote, the surveillance captured Lowe disarm a student with a shotgun and then held the firearm to a nearby faculty member. Then Lowe wrapped the student in his arms and held him close. And quote, I feel like I was put in this room for a reason. You know, the shooter didn't. He didn't know that I was in the room, and he had opened the door, and I think there were many things in life that have prepared me for that very moment, Lowe said. And I know God. I thank God that no one got hurt, and I thank God that he was in the room. So, feel good story of the day. Every day we tell you something positive here on our show as a sentiment of our positivity and our goal of our show to be that positive influence in your life when a lot of things we are seeing here is somewhat negative. So, I wanted to go back to Diane Vance here. Diane, we were talking about some of the loan programs that you offer, of course, conventional FHA, all the basic types of loans for residential loans. But I'm not sure did you want to elaborate on some of the COVID-19 SBA stuff going on?
Yeah, the Small Business Owner's Guide to CARES Act is actually on the small business website. And what it covers to payroll payment protection program. I'm actually reading it right from the actual website. And Brandon, I'll go ahead and forward this to you. I don't know if you can actually put this somewhere on your website, but maybe the link for people to go to. You can actually get an SBA loan if you have less than 500 employees. And sometimes it's going to cover your employees' costs for health insurance, to cover them for their payroll, things to really help you to stay in business when the business comes back. And that's part of the it's called the CARES Act, which is the Corona Aid Relief and Economic Securities Act that was passed by the Senate and the House. So they're updating it as you go. I believe today is the first day that if you go to the SBA Direct, or if you go to your local bank, or I actually know some folks that actually do SBA loans. So if you go there, you can find any updates that you need.
Very cool. And I hear some of these loans are forgivable, meaning
They are. That's correct.
So
yep, some of them are forgivable. Some are. Some of the loans, depending on your size, depending on what you're doing with the money, what type of business you are. Even the ones that are the loan terms are actually for any amounts that aren't forgiven. The maximum term is 10 years, and the maximum interest rate is 4%. 0 loan fees, 0 prepayment fees. And SBA will establish application fee caps and for lenders. So if they go onto the local SBA websites, the allowable costs are payroll costs, employee salaries I talked about, commissions, payments for interest on mortgages, rent, utilities, interest on any other debt obligations that were incurred before the coronavirus, before the covered period. You have until June 30th to actually apply for the SBA loan. So it is available. It's my understanding it's going to be available today.
All right, let's jump into our lightning round. It's time for the lightning round here. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. And ladies first, let's go back to Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Yes, just go to my website, dianevance.com. We are lending money. You can get a loan. Maybe not refinance right now, but in the future, interest rate will calm down. They will come back to normalcy. We're going to have a great third and fourth quarter. So be patient. It will be there. Purchase loans are still very low. So interest rates are still good. So just give me a call.
I like it. All right, let's go to Iggy Garcia, attorney Iggy Garcia. Top tips, parting words of wisdom, sir.
So right now, it's a tough situation for employers dealing with COVID-19 and the effects it's having on their workforce, but there are options for him, and there are different ways that you could deal with this situation to minimize the impact that it has on you as an employer financially and to put you in the best situation to be able to ramp up once this situation passes us. And so, like I said, I know it's a tough time, but there are different ways to deal with it. Be happy to talk to any employer who needs it to help them deal with this situation and their employees.
Excellent. I like that. Thomas King, top tips, nuggets of advice.
Well, I would say to anyone and a family member that you have to remember that you are always going to be, no matter what, the first responder in any kind of situation or event. You have to always provide for your family, feed them, give them a home or the roof over their head, and you have to provide protection. Having a plan in place makes that easier for you. So make sure you are the first responder and you're going to be able to take care of your family well.
Yeah, I like that. That's great advice there. And I'll talk about worry. The challenge with worry a lot of times is that the worry does not come to fruition. We spend time thinking about it, putting ourselves through this anguish in our mind about what may happen, what happens if this happens. Don't worry. This is a story about why you shouldn't worry about the what ifs, right? So the message is clear. Don't worry about the what ifs. Things might happen. Concentrate on what you're doing now, the task at hand. For Hall of Fame basketball coach, UCLA Coach John Wooden, the focus was the practice at hand, not the possible outcome for the upcoming game. For Muhammad Ali, the focus was on the grueling training session at hand today, not the possible outcome of the future bout. So when Coach was in high school, his father gave him a humorous essay that he had come across from the story of worry. And he says, you really are only two things to worry about, whether you're a success or whether you're a failure. And you can do that every day. You can focus on what you should be focusing on, the 80-20 rule, the one thing from Gary Keller, the one thing, and focus on that and make sure you're on the task at hand. That's very important. All right, let's go back to Diane Vance, parting words of wisdom.
Give me a call if you have any question about forbearance or anything like that. I will tell you what I know and give you advice for that. But please make sure you call your servicing company to make sure that I can check if you've done loans with me, but I still can give you some advice.
That's right. Reach out to Diane Vance, dianevance.com. All right, Iggy Garcia, parting words. We got about a minute left here, bud.
That there are different options for employers to deal with the COVID-19 crisis and their employees, rather than, I know it's easy to panic, but there are ways that you could deal with it in a thoughtful manner to both be efficient about the expenses that you have during this time period and better set yourself up to be able to start up again, hopefully soon.
Excellent. I like that. Reach out to Iggy Garcia, iggy.garcia@odnss.com, or you can, of course, reach our hotline and we'll get you in touch with all of our expert contributors. Thomas King, got some quick tips, parting words?
I just want to give a shout out to Brandon and his amazing team that always puts together such a great show for great information for everyone out there and everyone on the panel today. And We Beam TV for putting on a fantastic studio here, for letting us say what we need to say and get our word out there today. So I really appreciate that. The one last thing I'd just say is, if you have the funds and the means, please purchase a little bit of lunch, maybe for your first responder, your doctor out there. You go on a webpage. They actually have that, so you can order 50 pizzas for the whole staff. So that'd be something amazing for you to make you and your family feel better today.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. The joy of giving will definitely shine through on that. I know that the church as well, the chapel, is offering certain days. They have donation drop-offs. The food lines, the food banks are at historic highs. Unemployment's at a historic high as well. So do your random act of kindness, as we always say on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please be a leader out there. Be a force for good. And we want to urge you to go out there and create that random act of kindness in your life. Do something kind for one another. And there's lots of ways that you can be a force for good in the community. And I want to thank our guest contributors today, Diane Vance, Iggy Garcia, Thomas King. Always a pleasure as well. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you, donate it, volunteer some time, volunteer some blood, donate some blood rather, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.